Bullworth Academy, the school that will change your life. Boasting a rich history, unmatched school spirit, and world-class academics, your troubled preteen through teenage criminal-to-be will find the structure they need to be molded into model citizens. Bullworth's gated campus features a full-size gymnasium, football field, and a fully stocked library full of the classics so your child can be well-rounded individuals. Our award-winning faculty will instill respect in your unwanted spawn and treat them with the dignity they deserve. We only hire the finest professors and most qualified teachers to instruct within these walls.
Bullworth Academy.
Drop your anchor with us and set sail to the life you've been missing. They'll be fine. Probably.
It's all downhill from here, my friend.
Bully makes me think about high school. That's not a good thing. Before I started high school in 2008, I played Bully a bit on the Wii with the Scholarship Edition. I remember our main character, Jimmy Hopkins, hopping out of his car after giving his mom and stepdad lip. After an overly exaggerated welcome and stepping fast through the archway into Bullworth, I remember seeing the bustle of campus. It gave this true lived-in feeling, like everyone else had cemented their routines and friendships, and Jimmy just arrives thrown into the school like chum to the sharks. The headmaster doesn't seem to give Jimmy a chance either, basing his opinion off of his granted very long history of getting expelled from multiple schools as a way to stick it to his parents. After settling into his dormitory, Jimmy gets the grand tour of campus by Gary Smith, the worst person. Gary points out the many cliques of Bullworth, a cliche group of groups featuring nerds, jocks, preppy rich kids, and greasers. You know, like the kids from the hit late 70s musical Grease? Gary explains that the cliques are an inevitability happening at Bullworth, unless Jimmy agrees to team up with him to take over the school where they can rule together. I remember back when I played the game for the first time, I remember very distinctly this introduction to Bullworth. It signified a lot of what I was afraid of making the jump to high school. I went to an elementary school where my entire class was around 40 kids total. My incoming 8th grade high school class, in contrast, was set to be around 250. I felt just like Jimmy, like chum in the water. So many of the students who were going to be in my class graduated from their elementary school together and were already coming in with a ton of friends. As such, the clique problem was a major fear of the school, so much so that we had to be called into an assembly where we were just told to bust the cliques, gentlemen. Welcome to high school, and welcome to Bullworth. I graduated from that high school in 2013, and as such, I don't think about my time there that much anymore. Probably because it was neither the best nor worst time of my life. I had great moments, I had awful moments. Bully makes me think of the awful ones. Alright, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. It really only made me realize one thing. If your high school wasn't as bad as Bullworth, you probably had a decent enough high school experience. If your high school was worse than Bullworth, come grab a seat near me during lunch and we can talk about it. Bullworth gives the impression of a place with structure and structure for its structure. There are prefects of discipline roaming the halls and sidewalks waiting for students to slip up and miss class or get caught wearing the wrong shirt. But if you scratch a bit lower past the surface, you see the structure is a facade. Students have evolved past getting caught. They claim their turf on and off campus, making it easy to do whatever they want. The nerdy kids have an observatory guarded by a freaking turret on campus. And there are even faculty members encouraging the students to bully each other and treat each other like crap. At Bullworth, if you get caught, you're an idiot. So much is happening under Principal Crabblesnitch's nose. There's a homeless person who lives on campus and teaches Jimmy to fight in exchange for transistors. And again, turret defense system. While all the students are constantly settling their issues with their fists, pranks and jokes are aplenty as Jimmy has a ton filling his arsenal, which again are all technically against school rules. He has itching powder, stink bombs, and firecrackers. And when he's got to take someone out from afar, he has a spud gun and a tactical scoped slingshot. It's all fun and games until you accidentally egg someone in front of a prefect. At my high school, you couldn't get away with anything. We had multiple security cameras in every hallway and a prefect of discipline who literally served in the Marines. There was an initiative to ban watches. Not smartwatches, wristwatches. The ones that tell time and nothing else. They were too distracting, allegedly. We could get detention for anything from shoes being untied to hair touching your eyebrows. But in my eyes, this is where Bullworth really nailed the high school experience. At my school, if you were the nail that stuck out, you got hammered down into place to fit in with everyone else. On the school level, everything you did, wore, read, said, and studied adhered to a very strict set of guidelines. But to your peers, if you had one defining characteristic that was different from the status quo of being a straight white Catholic dude, that one feature was the one thing you were known about before anything else. If you were black, Jewish, God forbid you were gay, it was the end of the fucking world for you. Bullworth likes to make it a point to show its structure, and how it will force people into not being themselves, but the students have found ways around it. At the same time though, the students have also found their own ways for shaming people who stand out anyway. A lot of the needling and making fun of people for liking to kiss guys is in Bully, and it sucks to see, but it's also exactly how high school was. Maybe if the high school wasn't trying so hard to teach its students that everything they do is wrong, they'd be less reliant on tearing down people to make themselves feel better. Bully nails the insecurity of teenagers who are being faced with so much. So much changes in a few short years that everyone is scared and confused half the time, trying to figure out how to cope with it all. I remember feeling like I'd burst into flames if someone stared at me for too long. Everyone in Bully is terrified of sticking out. In fact, Rockstar got so many of the little details about school right. For a company that is happy to let you mow down people in GTA, they managed to capture the hijinks, the angst, and the frustration of being a teenager. A lot of the aggression and constant rage these characters exhibit come down to their own insecurity. Characters, as big of cliche caricatures as they are made out to be, deliberately say it.
Sure. Are you English? Well, no. I just speak this way because I'm very insecure.
They're obsessed with being popular and bullying everyone else because they're afraid of appearing weak to anyone. And when you get bullied at Bullworth, it says less about you than how you react to the bullying. So a huge circle is created where everyone is bullying everyone at all times. The jocks bully the nerds who try to bully the jocks right back by making them look stupid. The greasers bully the preppy kids, and the preppy kids bully anyone who they view as poor. In fact, when Jimmy beats them all in a tournament at their boxing gym for prize money, they disqualify him because his parents aren't members of the club. So to dunk on him, they give him a beach house. I wish someone would teach me that lesson. It's not until someone like Jimmy, who doesn't care what anyone else thinks, arrives on campus and sets out to bring peace to the cliques by showing all of the cliques leaders that they aren't as tough as they think they are. He's constantly beating people up, and so is everyone else. Violence is used to settle everything, but once fights are over, Jimmy is always there to pick up his adversary. And as he beats people up, he eventually starts to run the school. Okay, look, I'm not about to say you should learn anything from Jimmy, but as a post-pubescent teenager stuck in an all-male school that only really cared about sports titles and academic leaders, I could see some real parallels between some of my peers and Bullworth students in the way their mindset works. But in some ways, Bullworth doesn't feel like such a bad place. When I was 13 playing this game for the first time, I remember it feeling so austere and strict. But now that I'm done with high school, almost a full decade removed from ever stepping foot in those halls, damn, I wish I went to Bullworth instead. Mostly because Jimmy could wear shorts to school, which doesn't seem like much, but in the South where temperatures can reach 110 degrees and people are passing out in morning assembly from the heat exhaustion due to wearing khakis in the heat, yeah, I wish I could have worn shorts. But it's not just the lenient dress code. So much of the school experience was perfectly crafted. The game really nails the school-life balance really well. Schooling is only part of the high school experience, and Bully acknowledges that. The breadth of things to do before, between, and after class is wide. It packs a ton of content into one small package. Jimmy can do side jobs for money, take girls on dates at the carnival, and help out teachers. He can even do favors for people who run up to him on the street. But even class is worth going to. I was compelled to go to almost every class and do the mundane busy work for one reason and one reason alone: the instant gratification of upgrades, something real-life class has never been able to provide. I would have been so much more attentive in my actual chemistry class if I immediately gained the ability to make stink bombs after one session. And with 5 levels to each class, you can upgrade Jimmy's competency across a wide variety of areas. Rockstar did an amazing job of crafting a school experience worth participating in. Even something as small as the changing of the seasons goes a long way. Since Bully takes place during a calendar year of school, it makes sense that the seasons change along with the chapters. Where I live, we have 3 seasons: sweaty, 3 days of winter, and stay indoors or the sun will kill you. But even then, seasons played a huge part in school for me. I remember every year being able to feel summer approaching as I finished second semester midterms. Bully manages to capture Halloween beautifully. An entire mission revolves around causing trouble on Halloween night. During winter, ice and snow makes it harder to navigate on a skateboard, and Jimmy gets to wear an awful sweater. Now that I've finished Bully, I feel the opposite of nostalgia for high school because it managed to capture the essence of what being a teenager is like. It's a tough time for everyone, and this game crafts a narrative that can only really happen in a high school setting. The constant stress of not having enough money to buy the things you want, the stress of getting detention if you have a moment of imperfect behavior, but also the excitement of finding a class you really enjoy, or finding a professor that doesn't think of you as an idiot kid. They're depicted perfectly. So if you want a trip down memory lane, for better or for worse, Bully will give that to you. Thanks for watching my video this far, I really appreciate it. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like on it, and if you want to be notified of more of my uploads, you can hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to make sure you never miss when I have a new video. How was your high school experience? Was it better than Bullworth, or was it worse? Let me know in the comments. And lastly, if you want to support my channel directly, check out the link in the description to go to my Patreon channel. With tiers starting at $1, anything can go a long way to supporting the channel and helping me keep it going. I'd like to thank 8-Bit Jesus, Andrew Lang, and Sebastian Pereira for supporting me in my higher tiers. I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks again.